if you're like me, you had a weird October full of wannabe gangbangers, television appearances, and scaring the shit out of kids.
Why are you scared?
But you didn't have any time to make a Gnubesoft Python lesson, so you're kind of boned. But I didn't spend the month just on nonsense. I was actually programming something for myself that I'd like to show off. This is called Podpycker, which is an automated way to grocery shop on Peapod. Peapod is a great service. I've been using it for years, but it's sometimes difficult to remember to buy things that you don't buy regularly enough. Like, I'll get the stuff that I buy on a regular basis all the time, right? Like, I end up saving a lot of money because I'm not walking down the aisles buying random things that I'm seeing. But because I'm not walking down the aisles seeing things, I sometimes forget things that I also need that just I don't buy as, weekly or whatever. So those things, I figured, well, I should be able to automate that, right? Like, I should be able to schedule the things that I need because there's known quantities for all these things. Like a good example is napkins. Okay, there's 100 napkins in a package, so I use that up in like 4 weeks. So I need that every 4 weeks. Like, it's as simple as that, right? It should be as simple as that, but there is no scheduling thing in Peapod. So I've written the scheduling thing for Peapod, and that is Podpycker. This is something I'm going to release open source so anybody can use it. I don't know if I'm ever going to do a lesson on it because it's actually super complex. Like, this might be, like a distant future kind of video for like advanced Python, because like the scraping alone is a whole new level of hell that I've never experienced before. So this is a tricky thing that I did, and I want to show it off. So I'm going to do that now. So there are two components to this. There's the picker that does the actual process of going through and adding things to your shopping list, but there's also the web UI, which is where you specify which items you want to be added. So you should run that part first, and when you do, it'll give you your local IP and port to go to. And when you go there, if it's your first time running it, it will ask you for your Peapod username and password. And this is open source, so if you're concerned about me stealing your Peapod username and password, you can verify through the source code that I am not doing that. And then you want to set the default frequency in weeks that you shop. So like my husband and I, we only get groceries twice a week, or every other week. So save our settings, and we return home. And now it's saying that before we add anything through the list manually, would you like to import? So we could just click this begin import button, and the magic happens. Like, this is automatically going on. It's launching Firefox, and it's logging me in, and it's going to go through and check all of the past purchases. So here it's clicking through the past purchases, and it's going to go to the last 6 months instead of all time, because I figured 6 months is a good window of things that you've actually bought recently. And it's going through this whole list now, gobbling up all of the data for things that you've bought in the last 6 months. And then it's going to present them all to you in a useful way where you can go through and manually select, I want this thing. So I want apples every 2 weeks. Great. Let's get some bananas in here too. And I need 2 of these green onions and some carrots. I gotta get the leafy greens in there. I just go through and I said I need 2 of these tomatoes. I need a garlic head like once every 4 weeks. And for some of these things, you'll see that there's 2 different types of chicken breasts here. So what I want is this one. This Empire Kosher is really good. So I'm going to add that. But if that's not available, I want to set this as a substitution for that. So I just do that. I said substitution. There we go. And it's added now. And it's saying was added to your grocery list. And we can actually scroll down to the very bottom of this and see how that actually looks. Like that. We've got all the things that I've been adding at the quantities I've been adding at the frequency I've been adding, and we've got our substitution here. And if you want, you can easily delete things or change them. It's designed to be as user-friendly as possible. So I'm not gonna go through my whole shopping list here, but you get the idea. And I'm gonna import a database that's got everything in it already, and we'll see it run now. All right, I've restored the database that has my actual shopping list in it, so I can show you the picking process. So it's going to launch a Firefox browser, and the reason it's using Firefox here is it tends to be a little bit more consistent across all OSs. So Selenium, the thing that I'm using to actually do the programming onto the browser, will work with all kinds of different browsers, but Firefox I've found is much more consistent across, especially Linux. And it's got a mode where you can run it headless. So I could put this on a remote server and it doesn't even need a monitor to display all this. It'll just run all of the interface in memory. So right now it's going through the all-time purchases, and it's trying to find things that I want to purchase from that list, assuming that most of the things that I want to purchase will already have been purchased at some point in the past. So this saves it a lot of time. It doesn't have to do a search for every single individual thing. So right now it's going through and it clicks on the thing, and we get to see the browser window move as it selects things, and then it knows that I want 2 tomatoes. And like, seriously, the whole process of scraping this website is such a pain in the ass because it's all JavaScript. There's no easy way of scraping it, and you'll see it has to close these little by to of, because that's obscuring useful information from it. Like, it needs to know the size and all this to make sure that it's doing it correctly, but these goddamn coupon offer things keep on screwing it up. So it handles that. Like, I've been working really hard on making sure this is handling all the edge cases and everything. But you see, it just keeps going. And it goes a little slow because it has to wait for the Peapod JavaScript interface to refresh. Like, if it, you could try to make it hammer out every single thing you need with no delay, but that will break Peapod's website. Like, it just does not like being hit super hard. So this is taking like a 2-second pause between every action so that it makes sure that it doesn't overload thing. Even entering numbers into the that input field requires a delay, I've found. So it should be pretty reliable here. I'm actually crossing my fingers as this is going on video, because I do not want this to break while I'm trying to show it to you. It worked. Like, it actually did the grocery shopping for us last week. So I'm waiting to see it complete this now on its second effort. I'm going to fast forward to the parts where it needs to search, because some things don't show up in the past purchases list. Even though you've purchased them, they don't show up in the past purchases list, and some things are out of stock. So if there's something out of stock, it's going to try to find the substitutions if there are any available. So I'll fast forward now to when it does the searching process. All right, so we're finally at the part where it starts searching for things that it couldn't find in the list, and I'm not sure what it didn't find because it looked like that was already in my shopping cart, but it handles for things that aren't in the shopping cart. And I guess he got a little confused as to what was in the shopping cart already. So now it's checking what it thinks are missing, and I may have screwed this up because I was tweaking things in the background, but it's being as vigilant as possible in trying to find the things that you want. And it will even do the substitutions. And this is surprisingly handy because there are a lot of things that just, well, not a lot of things, but there are a few things that just don't show up in the past purchases. And that really screws me up because that was my main tool as a Peapod customer, to find the things that I like. And if they're not going to have things in there that I like, then I'm going to forget about those things altogether. So now it's manually doing the search. I'm just going to call this video right now. You get to see that the search function works. It's finding things, it's adding things. This is going to simplify life very much. So I am going to run this personally for like a month or two before I release it to the world. But I hope that this will be useful to other people. Take it easy, folks.